Welcome to You Mother Truckers podcast. This week, buckle up, because we're taking a pit stop to explore a couple of flash fiction stories that really zero in on that fascinating point where, the ordinary bumps right into the extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
You sent these our way, curious about narratives that touch on the legendary and the hidden, and, well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack for you.
And what's intriguing right off the bat is how these really concise flash fiction stories can tap into something so primal within us, that yearning for connection that transcends the everyday.
Yeah.
That fundamental need for belonging and that persistent feeling that there's, a whole other layer to reality just beneath the surface.
Absolutely. The first flash fiction story, Wild Song, it drops us into a world where those creatures we usually find in myths are actually walking around.
Right.
And at its center is a young person, an outcast, who stumbles upon this, unbelievable way to communicate with them, which, as you can imagine, really throws a wrench in how his human community sees the world.
And the second piece, Moonbloom, offers a different kind of wonder. It unveils this secret, sort of ephemeral garden that bursts into bloom for just a single magical night.
Wow.
It's a fleeting glimpse of something truly special in what seems like an otherwise unremarkable existence, but it leaves this lasting imprint of, awe.
So our mission in this pit stop is to really get under the skin of these flash fiction stories. What do they tell us about building bridges where we least expect them, about finding acceptance in unusual circumstances, and about that enduring human fascination with the unseen? Okay, let's dive straight into Wild Song.
Right, so the story immediately presents us with Finn, and you instantly get a sense of his otherness. That label the villagers have hung on him, beast-touched, it really speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm.
He's clearly marked as different, an outsider. And the detail that he was raised by the village healer and found his solace in the natural world and the rustle of leaves and chatter of squirrels, as the story puts it, really underscores his separation from the human community.
Yeah, it almost suggests that the natural world offered him a form of understanding that his own people didn't.
Exactly. It paints such a vivid picture of someone who has always found more kinship, in the wild than within the confines of the village.
And this becomes so significant when the griffin makes its dramatic entrance. The initial encounter is described so powerfully, the villagers in a panic, the archers fumbling. But Finn, this figure already on the fringes,
Yeah.
he's just frozen, captivated by this strange fascination. It makes you wonder what he's seeing that the others aren't,
Definitely. And it's crucial how the author characterizes the griffin's cry, not as just some generic monster roar, but as a howl of desolate rage. That single detail immediately elevates the creature beyond a simple beast. It imbues it with a profound emotional weight, hinting that there's a reason for its aggression, something beyond mere instinct. What stood out to you about that shift in description?
For me, it completely flipped the script. It makes you think about the creature's perspective.
Yeah.
And that leads directly into that pivotal moment of realization for Finn and consequently for us, the readers.
Right.
He understands that the griffin isn't just attacking. She's a mother whose nest has been destroyed. That's a seismic shift in how we perceive the encounter.
Totally.
The fearsome beast is suddenly vulnerable, driven by this primal, understandable grief.
Yeah.
It makes you question who the real threat is in that moment.
Precisely. And then comes the truly innovative part of the story. Finn's attempt to communicate, it's not through force or intimidation, but through these images gleaned from seasons spent in the wild.
Right.
A starving cub, the shared sunlight, these are all these powerful nonverbal concepts rooted in shared experience, bypassing the limitations of spoken language and human-centric understanding. It really makes you consider the limitations of our own communication, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like he's tapping into some universal language that the humans have lost or maybe never even knew existed.
Yeah.
And the griffin's reaction is so telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lowered head, that flicker of something like curiosity. It's not immediate trust, obviously, but it's a break in the expected hostility, a glimmer of willingness to understand.
A possibility. It suggests that empathy can bridge even the widest divides, maybe.
I think so.
And what's particularly insightful here is how Finn then uses this newfound ability, this understanding, to become a mediator between the human and the wild.
Yeah, the examples are great.
The examples provided the chimera lashing its tail not in violence but out of hunger, accepting livestock as a solution.
Right.
And the ancient Urim calmed not by force, but by whispers of untouched caverns. They really demonstrate the practical power of Finn's unique perspective. He's not just conversing, he's actually finding resolutions, fostering an unexpected harmony.
It raises the question of how much conflict just arises simply from a lack of understanding, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like he's unlocked this whole level of interaction that the villagers were completely oblivious to, trapped in their own assumptions and fears.
But predictably, I guess, this fragile peace is threatened by the arrival of the king's knights.
Of course.
Their immediate suspicion, labeling Finn's ability as witchcraft, perfectly highlights that ingrained human tendency to fear what we don't comprehend. What does that kind of knee-jerk reaction tell you about societal structures?
Well, it underscores how established power structures often react to anything that challenges their authority or their understanding of the world. Finn's ability isn't something they can control or easily categorize, so it's immediately deemed dangerous. This introduces a really compelling conflict. The one person bringing peace is suddenly perceived as the threat.
And Finn's response in that moment is so pivotal. I do not control them. I speak to them, something you should have tried long ago. That's kind of the core of the story's wisdom, isn't it?
It really is.
This profound idea that communication and understanding are inherently more powerful, more effective than aggression and fear. It almost feels like a direct commentary on how we approach conflict in our own world sometimes.
Absolutely. It's a direct challenge to the prevailing mindset, and it's a challenge that ultimately dictates Finn's path. He doesn't try to fight the knights or, plead with the villagers.
Yeah.
He recognizes where he might actually find acceptance, or at least understanding.
Which culminates in that incredibly resonant image of him just walking into the shadowed forest with the griffin and her hatchlings.
Yeah.
The griffin's mournful screech as they depart feels like a lament, doesn't it? For the lost potential for connection between the human and wild worlds. And the stunned silence left behind in the village really emphasizes the magnitude of their departure and kind of the missed opportunity.
And the rumors that surface years later, the wild boy living with wolves, the figure calming tempests, the Wyrm's roar transforming into harmony, these become almost legendary themselves.
Right.
It speaks to the enduring impact of Finn's choice and his continued connection with the natural world. It suggests that true belonging isn't always found within, societal norms.
So as we reflect on Wild Song, it really brings to mind that potent question the story poses near the end. For what is a hero, if not someone who walks the line between worlds, becoming a bit of a monster in the process? It really forces you to reconsider our traditional definitions of heroism and who we deem to be on the right or wrong side. What does that question spark in your own thinking?
It challenges this very binary view of good and evil, hero and monster. It suggests that sometimes embracing the other, even taking on aspects of what is feared by society, can actually be a form of profound heroism.
Interesting.
It's about bridging divides, even if it means personal sacrifice or, societal misunderstanding.
Okay, let's shift gears now and step into the enchanting and much more intimate world of Moonbloom. This flash fiction story centers on Lily and this almost magnetic whisper that draws her out to the old oak tree and this hidden garden at the precise stroke of midnight.
Yeah.
There's this immediate and deliberate contrast drawn between her ordinary, everyday attic room and the sheer, unbelievable magical possibility that's waiting for her just outside. What does that contrast immediately signal to you?
Well, that stark contrast is so effective in establishing the central theme of the story, the intrusion of the extraordinary into the mundane. It sets up this expectation that something truly special is about to happen, a temporary escape from the, predictable rhythms of everyday life. It speaks to that universal human desire for just a touch of magic in the ordinary.
And the description of the garden itself is just spellbinding, isn't it? Phosphorescent orchids, a vine woven from starlight, fruit that glows like miniature suns. is this incredibly vivid, almost dreamlike space.
Totally dreamlike. It seems to just materialize out of thin air. The sensory details are so rich.
They really are.
The author really crafts an immersive experience through those details. The air that thrummed with an energy, the bellflower chime releasing iridescent spores, even that sudden bright laughter. It all works together to pull you into the otherworldly atmosphere of this fleeting realm.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're right there with Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And within this magical space, we witness this remarkable transformation in Lily. She becomes fearless. She's painting with bird song. She's sculpting clouds with her hands. It's as if she's unlocking this latent potential within herself,
Yeah.
sense of wonder and creativity that's usually suppressed by the routine of her ordinary life. And she even experiences a flicker of the eternal. What do you make of that particular phrase?
That phrase, flicker of the eternal, is so evocative. It suggests that this brief encounter with the magic offers her a glimpse into something timeless, something beyond the constraints of her everyday existence.
Hmm.
It's not just about the beautiful garden itself, it's about a connection to a deeper sense of wonder and perhaps even like the interconnectedness of things.
But, as is the nature of all things ephemeral, the garden's beauty is fleeting. The arrival of dawn brings this swift and almost melancholic fading.
Yeah, the sad part.
The petals shriveling, the starlight curdling, the magic visibly receding. It creates this real sense of loss, this bittersweet ache of something beautiful just disappearing.
And the single silver bloom that Lily manages to hold on to is such a poignant symbol. It's a tangible link to the magic she experienced, a concrete reminder that it wasn't just a dream.
Exactly.
But the story also notes that it's a wound, highlighting the inherent sadness of its impermanence and the stark contrast with the ordinary world she's now returned to. What do you think the significance of that duality is? The reminder and the wound.
Well, I think it speaks to the idea that encountering something truly extraordinary can forever alter your perception of the ordinary,
Right.
and that there might always be a slight pang of longing for that lost wonder. The everyday might never quite feel the same again after that.
Makes sense.
The story then touches on the complete indifference of the wider world to this incredible event that happened, literally in the Lily's own backyard. Everyone else is just going about their daily routines, completely unaware.
Yeah, oblivious.
It really emphasizes the intensely personal and hidden nature of wonder, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you ponder how many of these quiet moments of magic might be happening around us all the time, unnoticed and unacknowledged by the majority. It suggests that perhaps we need to cultivate a greater awareness, a willingness to see beyond the surface.
Even though the garden vanishes, it leaves this indelible impression on Lily. She finds herself inexplicably smelling starlight, apparently, and feeling this persistent urge to paint the impossible.
I love that phrase.
It beautifully illustrates how even a brief encounter with the extraordinary can leave a permanent mark on your imagination and your perception of what's possible.
And the eventual fading of the silver bloom into dust is presented as inevitable. But the story offers a really lovely resolution, I think, by connecting it to Lily's later understanding when she witnesses a child's pure wonder at a firefly.
Right.
It suggests that even when grand magic fades, it can teach us to recognize and appreciate the smaller, more readily available moments of wonder in our everyday lives. It's about finding the echoes of the extraordinary in the ordinary.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So as we bring our discussion of Moonbloom to a close, this resonant idea lingers. Some magic fades, but it leaves behind a hunger for the extraordinary, a flicker of wonder in the corners of the ordinary world. It's a really beautiful and ultimately hopeful thought about the enduring power of fleeting beauty and its lasting influence on us.
It is. It suggests that even though the spectacular might not be sustainable, the longing for it, and more importantly maybe the ability to find its reflections in the mundane, remains a fundamental part of the human experience.
These two flash fiction stories, Wild Song and Moonbloom, really do offer such distinct yet equally compelling perspectives on those moments when the extraordinary breaks through into the everyday.
They really do.
In Wild Song, we witness this incredible potential for understanding and connection in the most unexpected of places, even with creatures we've kind of relegated to the realm of myth. After experiencing Finn's story with us, you might find yourself considering what assumptions we unconsciously make about those who seem different, and what we might be overlooking by not attempting to communicate in new and perhaps unconventional ways.
And Moonbloom, in its own way, serves as this delicate and poignant reminder of the often hidden nature of wonder. Lily's experience, though it unfolded in the span of just a single night, leaves an undeniable mark on her life.
Definitely.
It prompts you to think about those fleeting moments of magic, however small or seemingly insignificant, that might be present in your own world, just waiting for you to truly see them.
Thank you for bringing these captivating flash fiction stories to our pit stop today. We sincerely hope this exploration has offered you some intriguing insights and perhaps even sparked a bit of wonder in your own thinking.
Hope so.
Rate and follow you, Mother Truckers. Podcast for more captivating mysteries from the world of flash fiction.